On today's edition of Cosmo Times,
it's all about the various multi-talents we have in our cosmopolitan cities.
from an acrobat, photographer and illustrator in New York City to a TV host, model/actress in LA.
And our very own director, writer, and actress in Shanghai. Welcome to this week's all-rounded episode of Cosmo Times.
Once again, may I say, look no further than Dash, the all-rounder at your service.
You know, you have one of the biggest egos I have ever met in anyone.
Ego? I'm as humble as pie, thank you very much.
Pie? Why pie?
Well, it's a hearty kind of food and I'm a hearty kind of guy, and it's all-rounded.
Oh, you're so confused. Anyways, I was saying this episode is all about multi-talented young professionals.
Like me, host, actor, director, writer, creative thinker, all-rounder.
Anyways, let's go to this week's Word on the Street and find out who is your favorite jack-of-all-trades celebrity.
I would say myself.
How come I'm not surprised?
New York City attracts the best and the brightest from around the world. Today, I took to the streets to ask New Yorkers who their favorite multi-talented celebrities are.
Beyonce. I don't know. Yeah.
Why is that?
I think she's great since, you know, she has family and she still look, you know, gorgeous and still...
She still comes out now.
Yeah.
I would say that is Robert Pollard.
Really? Robert Pollard? Why
Do
is
you
that?
know who Robert Pollard is?
I'm not sure.
Well, he's the lead singer and songwriter for a band called Guided by Voices from Ohio. And he also does all the artwork on the albums. He also used to play baseball in college, and he pitched a no-hitter.
Really?
Known for that too.
So he's an athlete, musician, and artist.
Yeah.
Let's say Stephen King.
Stephen King, really? Why is that?
Well, you know, he writes books that do really well, and he also writes screenplays that do really well. So I consider that multi-talent.
Kanye West,
Kanye West. Why is that?
because he's a god.
Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus. Really?
Yeah.
And why Miley Cyrus?
She stands up for homeless people. She has a good cause. People just put her out to be a bad person.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. I love her. Why Taylor Swift?
She's awesome. She's beautiful and her songs are great.
Yeah. When you think of multi-talented celebrity, you might think of someone that can sing, that can dance, or that can even act. But for New Yorkers, they like people that are involved in their community, people that are actively involved in philanthropy. I'm Alex Farley in New York.
So the one thing that I would find interesting about celebrities is to find out how many different types of talents do they have. So our question for this week's Word on the Street is, who is your favorite jack-of-all-trades celebrities? Let's go find out. Hey, 你好，我想问一下，你觉得谁是全能的名人？
我认为最全能的名人是乔布斯，他至少他的产品可以让全世界人知道，然后他给年轻人传递的精神就是要勇于去创新，勇于去尝试。
林丹吧，因为他拿了大满贯嘛。04年雅典奥运会他首轮出局，但是他要承受这种心理压力，然后要继续再训练4年，08年还是拿了冠军，这样一个压力不是普通人可以承受的。
是希拉里，因为他在他无论是婚姻生活上，还是他的政治生涯上，他都能面面俱到处理得很好，包括他的个人形象也很好。
我觉得最全能的名人就是奥本海默，他既发明了原子弹，然后又能够精通多门外语，我觉得他很厉害。
应该是刘德华，因为他不管在影视领域、歌唱领域，还是慈善公益这一方面，都给我们留下了很多正面的这种形象。
姚明啊，华人的话在 NBA 打球算打得最好的了，也做慈善，我觉得蛮喜欢他的。
田亮算一个比较全能的名人，早些是运动员嘛，然后拿了奥运冠军，后来参加一些综艺节目。
马云在慈善呀、对员工的关爱，还有对整个公司运营团队的管理，还是很了不起的。
谭盾先生呢，在听某些段落的时候，都想象得出来，他当年写这个作品的时候，才华横溢，他自己都能为自己而骄傲。他站在世界上一线的演出的平台上，时时刻刻地展示着我们中国的这样的一种魅力。
Well, there you have it. Being an all-rounded celebrity demands respect. For me, anyone who has multiple talents can be a celebrity. This is Christine for Shanghai Word on the Street.
Well, it looks like New Yorkers prefer their celebrities to be active in their communities, like Kanye West, Taylor Swift, and Miley Cyrus.
And in Shanghai, we heard quite a variation, such as Yao Ming, Li Na, and Andy Lau.
You know who is my all-time favorite jack-of-all-trades celebrity?
Oh, it's obvious, it's me.
No, anyone but you.
Wow, that's a dagger in my heart, Nancy.
I was going to say Joni Mitchell.
Who?
Never mind.
Want to find out more about today's episode?
Well, don't you move a muscle, because when we come back,
we will talk to Kenny Wong in New York City and then catch up with Calypso Randa in LA.
Cosmo time. Welcome back. Well, I am curious, Dash. What makes you think you're an all-rounded talent?
Nancy, didn't you hear me earlier? Being an actor, a comic book illustrator, a kung fu master.
You're just adding things on now.
And a singer. The hills are alive with the sound of music.
Whatever you say, just don't sing anymore, please.
Everybody likes Sound of Music.
Yeah, I do love Sound of Music, but you ain't no Julie Andrews.
Of course I'm not. The name is Wong. Dash Wong. Remember it.
Wow, speaking of Wongs, let's go check out this week's New York Citysearch.
Another Wong? No.
Oh yeah, his name is Kenny Wong. Remember that name.
Dancing in the subway, singing in Times Square, acting in Tribeca. No matter where you go, multi-talented people are all around the city. Today, I'm meeting with stuntman, photographer, and graphic artist Kenny Wong, whose projects are as diverse as his abilities.
Why aren't you working? If you fall behind, you don't want to fall behind.
If you've got talent, New York is the place to be, but if you're Kenny Wong and you've got multiple talents, then of course you're gonna want to be here. Kenny, you are doing a lot of things right now. Tell me what got you interested in your respective fields.
I'm trying to tell a story with everything, like photography. You know, when you take a picture, they say every picture tells a story. Then with my art, I'm trying to tell a story through different panels of visualization. Same thing with martial arts. So when we do martial arts fighting in movies, we're telling a story about two people within conflict, and we're trying to figure out how to resolve it, and they resolve it through physical movement or violence.
Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, Kenny was drawn to martial arts in his early teens and has followed his passion to the big screen. His stunts have been featured in blockbuster films, including The Dark Knight Rises, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and R.I.P.D., and TV shows like The Blacklist, Blue Bloods, and White Collar. During his work on set, Kenny was able to get a new perspective on his other talents.
Stunt work basically taught me not just physical stuff, but also a lot of technical stuff. So I started shooting, so photography and video editing and all that stuff kind of came together. So everything actually came together, because even drawing-wise, I storyboard for some of the stuff that I do when I'm choreographing fight scenes with the team.
Even for a talented stuntman like Kenny, things can go wrong on set. While working on his latest film, The Finest Hour, Kenny suffered an injury that would put him out of work for the next year.
And it's kind of like hitting a car hitting a tree. So I fractured 8 ribs, ruptured my spleen, walked away with a bruised lung.
With his stunt work on hold, Kenny has time to dedicate to his other talents. Having studied photography at SVA, he can capture the city and its talented people with a click.
I have to know what I want, and I have to look at something and then I have to figure out in my head, oh, that's the composition, and I have to take it at that time, because you know, if you're taking, say, street photography, no one's gonna stand still for you just to pose for you. That's not how it works.
And pictures aren't the only thing coming to life. Kenny has teamed up with his partner Cricket to create a graphic novel that will premiere at this year's Comic-Con.
Well, Kenny, you have lots of talents, and now it's time to see them in action.
So basically, this is just my process. I would go through my little journal right here.
Oh,
and
wow.
I go through character designs and such just to figure out the look of the people.
I see that you have these drawings and something like this where it's in pen over here. How do you get to that stage?
When I use pen, I'm basically just warming up my hand, because all the martial arts I do makes my hand shaky and I tremble a lot, so I draw a lot just to get myself steady again. Then after that, I basically just, you know, draw like bigger versions of this just to play around with it. And then I'll mess around with pages. With art, I'm creating things in my own head. I'm making things up. I'm making up a world, a universe, races, religions, a story. I don't get to see a lot of that stuff as I used to, so it made me inspired to do my own graphic novel the way I remember things when I grew up.
I don't know, but it seems like everybody that's really good at something, it always has a dual side. You know, your friends inspire you, man, and then also everybody's talking about whatever techniques they picked up from this guy, or did you see this comic, or did you see this animation, or did you see this movie?
No matter where his talents take him, Kenny knows the most important part of the journey is having the courage to pursue them.
I think if you jump into it and just do it, you're gonna find probably that you'll be surprised, like, oh wow, you know, this is something I really want to keep going at, I'm really passionate about, because there's a lot of people that are unhappy doing what they do.
In a city like New York, talent can be found on every block. For those with multiple talents, their passion keeps the city's heart beating, and it's people motivated to pursue theirs as well. Reporting from New York, I'm Christy Clemens.
You know, I could do some acrobatics. It's all about being stretchy and limber.
Sure, Dash. I'm sure it is second nature to you.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I am a master of many things.
As far as I can see, you're doing a great deal there.
It's called the frog position.
Oh, really? Well, all I can see is your butt. By the way, isn't that a yoga position?
Yes. I am a master of many things, and that's included in many things.
All right. Well, in the meantime, let's check out this week's LA Citysearch then.
Nowadays, the entertainment industry asks for all-rounder artists. Like our guest today, she does modeling, acting, hosting, and writing. She's eager to work as hard as she can, and she brings the positive stuff to people around her.
What do you want to be in the future when you were very young?
It's actually very funny because my mom put me in acting because she says I was too shy, you're too quiet, people say hi to you and you don't say anything. So it's her fault that I wanted to do acting. So she puts me in a workshop, an acting class, and I love it. And I just became like, I started doing it, but I was still very, very shy. So that's when it started. I was about 13 years old. I started getting, going into the workshops and acting classes, and I completely fell in love with it. I want to be on TV, I want to do this, I want to do that. And that's how it all started, and it was just always on and off throughout, the course of the career. But, I've been actively, maybe for the past 7 years, I've been, finally dedicating myself to acting. a personality, radio personality. I also cover the news, the weather, the traffic. I mean, I edit, I produce, I script write. Also, what's also fun for me is acting and modeling, and being able to work on the radio, in the Los Angeles radio. So I have a lot of jobs. Plus, being a mom, is that being a job too?
It is a lifetime job.
Yes, it is. So yeah, there you have it. Also a writer, and I'm very well into my community. Something that I did by myself. It's called The Real Red Riding Hood, and it's a small mini production because I wanted to do mini-series, for myself, and also to give the opportunity to everyone to work together. And that was with Trevor Productions. We went out actually to the woods and we filmed Red Riding Hood going out to Grandma's house and meeting the big bad wolf.
Hey, what's up everyone? It's your girl Calypso, and we have a treat for you because we are literally gonna blow your mind away.
A lot of people come to this country and they don't want to pursue anything, or they're just happy with what they have, or raise their kids or whatnot. But I want something more. I want to make an impact here, make the use of it, get the education. And that's how it was. I didn't know English, and I come to school and I'm like, hi, hola, I don't know, so it was really challenging and very hard. But then I grew up here all my life, and I knew the language now. There's always other doors you can open. It's not the end of the world, and I always felt that it was. But with me, I want to return that feeling, with my writing, if I'm gonna one day do a book, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna inspire somebody. Everybody goes through the obstacles, and I feel like we have to change it around, because if you stay in the same, you're gonna stay.
It's never gonna change.
Yeah, that's true. Myself on the big screen. I want to get a role that's going to make a difference, not really aiming for the Oscars or the Emmys. I just want to do it because I love it, and have fun. But I really am more into it a lot these past few years.
Thank you so much. I love you all. LA.
Calypso says, a dream won't do until you do something for it. So, master your skills, empower yourself, and enjoy the journey. I'm Xiaowei, reporting from Los Angeles. Time to take that break again.
But when we come back, we'll talk to a talented young artist named Bella Tong.
Right here in our Shanghai Citysearch.
Cosmo Time.
Welcome back to this week's all-rounded episode of Cosmo Times. What are you doing now?
Well, after watching that Calypso interview, I realised that we actually have quite a lot in common except one thing: modelling. So, I am practicing my model pose.
Okay, well, I don't think this is what they're looking for in a model.
What do you mean?
I mean, most male models would not pose like this. This is a superhero pose. It's not a supermodel one.
All right, let me rethink it. I've got it.
What can I say? I tried. Well, let's check out this week's Shanghai Citysearch, shall we?
Everyone has heard of the triple threat. I found a young artist who's doing exactly that. She is the director, the scriptwriter, and stars in her own play. So let's go find out what this M Feast is all about.
No, I've never heard it.
Graduated from New York University with a degree in communication studies, her recent theater work, The M Feast, has been selected as the commissioned work for the 16th China Shanghai International Arts Festival, RAW. We've finally gotten a chance to catch up with Bella as she prepares her team for their next performance. Hi Bella, can you tell us why did you decide to write, direct, and star in your own play?
那么今年违约作品的它的一个主题其实就是进化论。那当时 first came to my mind 一个 idea 就是达尔文的 survival of the fittest， 所以我就选择这个主题创作了一个盛宴这样的感觉。
A multimedia play where 7 guests are invited to attend an annual fine dining event called the M Feast. Although the 7 people come from different social backgrounds, they all come to the feast with their own ulterior purpose. They all want to win that special prize Mr. M has set up for them.
Where did you draw your inspiration from?
那么选7个主角的话，是因为有一点圣经 Bible 的七宗罪的感觉。另外的话，也是大的时间观念，像一周的话，有7 days。那么每一个人不仅仅是像是一个 crime 的一个体现，另外也像是大的时间在我们个人的一个缩影。那么选择盛宴，它的一个餐桌，我觉得这个不仅是在东方，在西方的话，其实都是有层层的礼节，然后有一些不同的寓意。所以餐桌我觉得可能是比较好的一个体现。
And what does this play mean to you?
我觉得这一出戏对于我个人来讲也是一次心灵上的一次洗涤吧。因为从创作初期到中期到后期整个编排的过程，直到现在的商演，其实都是跟我的整个 team， 我们大家其实都是在一次的 grow up， 但对我们心灵其实也是一次的洗涤。
At first, they behaved like upper-class people, but as the feast carried on, their masks began to unfold. And as Mr. M revealed some of their darkest secret, it was a Chinese children's song that brought their virtues back in the end.
Was it hard to do all 3?
做3者的话，肯定会比较难以兼顾。那么初期的话，肯定是先 brainstorming 跟我的 team， 整个把这个 script 做出来，然后做出来的话，再进行一开始是小段的一个排演，然后再变成整个的 whole play。那么到后面我选择去演的话，其实是因为我们之前的一个演员他有参与别的戏的创作，所以就不能够参与到我们的 performance。后来我就说，哎，那不然的话，我也试试看这个小清新 reporter 的这个角色。
该感谢我，因为到明天，你们一个个都会成为社交网络上的红人。
那这个不同于影视的话，可能是你在演的同时，导演没办法兼顾说回到一个我的 monitor 那边去看。所以说之前的话有很多我们的一些艺术指导啊，有其他的一些前辈 artist 会过来给予一些意见啊，包括我整个我的这个 crew， 我的小伙伴啊，我的演员啊等等，都是我的一个 mirror。
Well, that was an interesting play. Kind of remind me of The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, of putting on and taking off one's mask. So the question is, do you dare to come to the M Feast?
Cosmo time.
Welcome back. So what do you think of the M Feast, Dash?
Well, that Paddington is certainly a talented young lady.
Deep too, I have to say.
Do you think she's as deep as this week's creative source?
To be honest with you, probably much more.
Well, we are an entertainment show after all, so without further ado, let's take a look at this week's creative source.
On a sunny winter day, if you're walking down Wukong Lu, you might come across the Leo Gallery. Here you'll find the exhibition Soft Power, displaying the work of 4 contemporary artists. Today we'll focus on 2 US artists, Barbara Edelstein and Maya Kramer. A statement on environmental protection. Artist Maya Kramer's work is a step towards realism. From a distance, you see feathers spinning in midair, but as you get closer, the lifelike texture becomes clear, until realizing it's actually coal which achieves this striking visual effect.
Since 2010, I started using pollutants to create natural imagery. So at that time, I created a tiger skull made out of laundry detergent, because laundry detergent is an everyday pollutant. And after that, I started using coal to render natural imagery. So it's a kind of juxtaposition. You know, if the feather is something really beautiful and light, the coal is something really heavy and menacing. So I want to, because we're creating a weird natural system through our intervention into nature. So I want to kind of portray nature as almost like the revenge of something eerie. There's a couple things in terms of creating that sense of contradiction. One of them is a sense of movement and stillness at the same time. So if you just put something on the wall, it often looks pretty still, but if you kind of bring it out and put it into space, it can look like it's moving. And yet all of these are fixed. They're not moving at all. So it's almost a bit like, it's like a wax museum or something. You know, when you see the person, they look so real, but you know they're not real. There's that tension between the reality and the artifice.
Well, I think the first impression that everyone gets when look at her works is nature, or the idea of birth and death. And when I look at Maya's works, I see how she's hiding the truth, how she's hiding these opposites, the contrasts between light and heavy, between coal, this heavy material, and the light feathers, how she interprets the nature and how she hides her own ideas about nature.
Referencing an actual satellite map of Chicago taken by NASA, Maya uses coal, crystal, copper, and gold to recreate the map in amazing detail.
And I was talking about natural light and human man-made light. So if you look at cities from outer space, you can see all of the light pollution that's going on the planet at every time. And you can actually see which countries are more developed. You can see which are brighter. Then this is the map of Chicago. So this is Chicago as seen from outer space. And then there's small crystals that are embedded into the coal. That's like the stars, if you know, the universe. It's like, it's incredible to me that we actually, like, all of this light blocks out the stars. We're blocking out the most incredible thing with these sulfurous yellow lights. You know, we're losing magic in a lot of ways.
Digging deep into Chinese tradition and culture, the work Reflections of U.S. artist Barbara Edelstein is a contrasting look at nature through photography and ink painting.
Choosing a photograph to photograph something is how we see the world, and it's very much about reality. But the way I photograph it is more as an abstraction and more as my emotion and my intuition. And in the drawings, using ink are also using my intuition and emotion, but it's my expression with my hands of using the brush. So one is using more my eye and a technical as a photograph, and one is using my hands more immediately, but it forms a dialogue.
Her video installation, With Breeze, was created here in China and is a representation of the Chinese concept of qi.
The video is inspired by Chinese landscape painting. It actually is shadows of trees moving very slightly in the breeze, in the air. And by videotaping the movement of the shadow, you're actually watching the energy of the air, which references to qi, the idea of qi in Chinese traditional or in Taoism.
What fascinated for me to see Barbara's work is when you see this exhibitions about the leaves, right? All different leaves. But for me, it's interested is not just she's a deal with nature subject, but the way she deals with nature is very natural. Like say each details, like we normally ignore, but from her work, you know, she is stand up, you know, to showing. Here is, you know, so silent, but this beauty is there.
Both female artists, it's given the gallery a chance to showcase the work of women and the power their work can really exude.
锵锵诗诗与画廊每年一度的一个主题的展览。通过看完我们展览，你会发现女性艺术家的作品其中含有的魅力和力量真的是不容忽视的，而且是感染人的。我们就是期待让观众看到女性艺术家，她们也有更加灿烂的这种艺术语言。
To
其实我本人不是特别喜欢把艺术家区分为男性艺术家和女性艺术家，我觉得每个人都有自己的表达的方式。但是，当我走进这个展览了以后，发现他们确实是把女性艺术家的一些特质，或者说是一些精髓上的东西，集体把它去表达出来了。所以，这一点是让我非常觉得这个展览还是不错的一个
Soft Power shows us the new female attitude towards art, stepping away from traditional mediums and looking towards a bright future of experimentation, concept, design, and vision. Recently, actresses Julianne Moore, Kristen Stewart, and Kate Bosworth showed up at the New York premiere of her film Still Alice at Manhattan's landmark Sunshine Cinema. Still Alice, based on the best-selling novel of the same name, tells the story of an accomplished 50-year-old woman who slowly loses her thoughts and memories to early-onset Alzheimer's disease.
You don't have to schedule it. It's okay. No, I want to put it in. And where is it?
Fresh off her Golden Globe win for Best Drama Actress, Julianne Moore is still excited about the honor and still pinching herself.
It's a tremendous honor. I mean, this is a tiny little movie. We didn't even finish it a year ago. There was no guarantee that we'd even get distribution when Sony Classics picked us up. So I do feel in a continual state of surprise about this whole process.
Both Kristen Stewart and Kate Bosworth, who play Moore's daughters in the film, had good things to say about the actress, who's been nominated for an Oscar 4 times.
You know, we're family, you know, so when she won, I root for her so deeply. I'm so insanely, immensely proud of her. I'm so thrilled for her.
Look forward to Still Alice's debut in China in the near future.
Do your best.
In the critically acclaimed new drama Whiplash, Miles Teller's aspiring jazz drummer Andrew Naiman is brought to his knees by demanding conductor Terrence Fletcher.
Little trouble there. To be playing this intimidating character and have it so well set up in the script, I mean, I have that first entrance where I sort of, come out of the ether, out of the darkness,
Naiman, an ambitious young drummer who's determined to succeed at the prestigious Schaefer Conservatory in New York, is recruited by Fletcher to play in his jazz ensemble.
You know who I am? Yes, sir. And then in the subsequent scenes, we see so much of who my character is on the faces of people, Miles, and the other actors and musicians who are responding to my presence in a room that really, like, half my work was already done for me.
However, his joy quickly turns to horror as he is pushed to his limits by the fearsome jazz maestro, who demands nothing less than total perfection from his younger charges.
I think Andrew, when he gets behind the drum kit, he kind of, goes into a different place. Because I want to be great.
Are you a rusher, or are you a dragger, or are you going to be on my time?
I'm going to be on your time.
Keep playing! Keep playing! Keep playing!
Whiplash is already released. Nicole Kidman's latest film, Paddington, is based on the children's book and cartoon about Paddington Bear, the talking bear who travels from Peru to London and moves in with a family. She won high praises for the film and approval from her two daughters, who are both clearly fans of the new movie.
Paddington?
Well, I had my 74-year-old mother see it and my 4- and 6-year-old children laughing when they watched the movie together. And that's when I went, wow, this is a home run. Because both generations could enjoy it. And that's pretty special.
Kidman plays a villain in the film, a taxidermist who wants to kill the bear Paddington and stuff him. Her daughters coveted one particular costume element from the set.
My 6-year-old loves the blonde platinum wig that I wear, so she's like, I want that.
Did you say Mom?
And they also, they don't have that much interest in films, but this particular film was obviously the one they wanted to visit the set on and see how it all came together and watch the action sequences and stuff like that.
Kidman said her youngest children aren't into performing right now, but she's still happy they like the film.
Just to have them sit and watch this movie and go, well done. And you know, whenever they see a Paddington bear now, they're like, ah, Paddington bear, Paddington bear.
The film Paddington, directed by Paul King and produced by Harry Potter producer David Heyman, is now in theaters in many countries. It's expected to be released here in China in the first half of the year.
Nancy, do you know what those people who play like 5 different instruments at the same time are called?
Oh, you mean one of those multi-instrument players?
Is that what they're called?
I don't know. What's your point?
Well, don't you think those guys are like the most all-rounded artists out there?
Yeah, but where are you going with this?
Well, I think that's my next challenge in life since I'm such a dedicated all-rounded artist.
Well, you do that. In the meantime, I think it is the end of today's show, so...
See you next week.
Thanks for watching.
Mm.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to this episode. No, wait, sorry. 3, 2, 1. Alright. 来吧，来了。
Actor? No. Host, right?
You want to be actor?
I am an actor.
You are an actor. Oh yeah, and his name is Kenny Wang. Remember that?
Kenny Wang? How did it go from Wang to Wong? Is it Sound of Music or The Sound of Music?